Congratulations, everybody. We have made it here through the first of many holiday gatherings. Just as we are, fully human, fully exhausted from travels or cooking and the eating of our Thanksgiving holiday, or perhaps still aglow from the time around those tables of laughter, of gathering together. And regardless of if you ate pumpkin or pecan pie, we gather here today, gathering around the table for a common meal. At our feasting tables last week, we made the recipes we delight in and the dishes that bring back memories and stories. For some of us gathered here, this year's holiday revealed to us the sharp pangs of those who were not around the table for the first time, whom we love and see no longer. Our tables were filled with guests, even as they may have included empty places, each chair revealing to us where our hearts' love lie. Perhaps we had a quiet, peaceful holiday. Perhaps it was way too busy and too full. Perhaps there's a dull ache. Perhaps the celebrations coexist at the same time. But we find ourselves today, the flip of a calendar, the first Sunday of Advent and our church year, the first actual day of December, that magical year where our commercial Advent calendars match with the first day of Advent as December 1st. And thankfully, in 20 short days, literally because of the light, our days will get longer with sunshine. And around us here in Boston, the twinkly lights are just emerging and growing fuller and shining more and more around us, brightening our darkness, brightening our pathways, revealing to us that even in the darkest of nights, the hard times, that there is love, hope, peace, and joy. The winter season is a season of vulnerability. Trees have lost their leaves, and we enter into what I love is called the season of sticks. Things lie bare, silhouettes of their former selves. The knots and branches of tree trunks are revealed without foliage to cover it. You see the scars of their longitude and the new beginnings and new branches. The imagery carries over to our understanding of ourselves, too. We, too, become vulnerable, not only because it is colder outside and we must put on more and more layers, but we're coming to the end of a calendar year, and we look back at the year past and what is to come. We feel this vulnerability within the changes of our lives, the empty chairs that once were filled at our tables, the uncertainty in the change in politics, the changes in our own lives with the progression of age, or annual checkups where we literally stand in our own birthday suits awaiting wisdom from those who know more about our health than we might. To be vulnerable is to stand revealed, willing to risk judgment and hoping for community, putting all our trust in those around us and in God's hands. Vulnerability takes courage, the bearing of one's heart, to share the most important things in our lives with those who are gathered around the table with us, those who are invited to hold that treasure with us and be with us in the midst of whatever emotional swirl or tempest that they invite you into. Being vulnerable is scary. When I worked with youth on a summer mission team doing home repair, the thing that made me most afraid and anxious were the words, "We just need to peel up those floorboards and replace the joists." Yes, you know what I'm talking about. In the heart of South Carolina, that was akin to saying, let's go ahead and redo it all. Because every time we took away that floorboard, the outer protective layer, laying bare the essential framework of the foundation of the house, we found that not only the joists needed work, but so did X, Y, and Z, and oh, while you're there, let's address Q, because humidity. Taking up the floorboards revealed so much more work that needed to be done to ensure that the house would still stand. My anxiety about the work came from a place of fear, of not knowing what to do, and completely forgetting that in community, we are not alone in the work that has to be done. We're here with each other, each bringing gifts and talents to the community. And while we might not be able to fix the problem all in one fell swoop, all at once, in revealing the challenges, we are able to help along the way that all of our gifts and talents could be used together. I came to realize that my part of the story was to be present, to listen, to encourage, and take one step at a time. The homeowner vulnerably opened up their home to us and shared all that they had, trusting us to build it up with them together. In the season of Advent, we hear prophets speaking of hope, speaking of what is to come. Their words peel back the layers of the work that is to be done. Many of our readings will be apocalyptic, that Greek word which means literally unveiling or revealing. It reveals the purpose of these readings, this message at this time. I don't believe that God's intention is to make us afraid. Rather, these readings reveal God's presence in creation, revealing our roles in community, and reveal that vulnerable, encompassing love of God who wants to enfold humanity. God's desire to be in community is revealed in the risky birth of his son as a baby. A vulnerable, trusting, fully exposed human baby, love fully enfolded in the arms of humanity. A manger, a young family, shepherds and innkeepers. And before I get in trouble for preaching a Christmas service and not an Advent sermon, Advent is all about preparations. The revelations that we have right in front of us, that God is at work in God's kingdom. A full-grown Jesus speaks to us about these preparations in our gospel reading today. We can see the signs that are around us, Jesus says, about when to plant or cut down trees. And yet, why is it when we are faced with hardships that we question where God is? Why do we think that we have been abandoned and we don't see community and where hope and new chapters can begin? Jesus reminds the people of the physical seasons around them, and that even if visible fruit is not being born at that time, this delay doesn't mean that it won't bear fruit later. Jesus is not speaking to scare the disciples into believing, but to remind them that even in the darkest times, God is there. God in the form of the most vulnerable. God in the form of a king born in a manger, lived among us, turning everything upside down, showing love in the most ultimate form, love that through vulnerability revealed community, salvation, and triumph amidst the darkness. Jesus gathered around so many tables. So many tables where people did not agree with him. So many tables where courage to ask questions and reveal curiosity and opposition were welcomed. Jesus stood, sat, and sauntered about in this community, reminding us that in community we can be builders of each other in the midst of the most challenging times. We may not have the answers or the talents for fixing the challenges that we have in front of us, but we do have the heart and the presence to be with each other, to hold the treasure of one another, to seek wholeness as we peek at what all of the world reveals to us, bidden and unbidden. In this holy season of Advent, may the revelation of God's hope for you and for us hold us together in common, seeking to guard our hearts so that they are not weighed down, rather that we might carry them together. As we sang in our opening hymn, may the chorus of this season be, O come, Emmanuel, God be with us, reveal in us that we are yours. Amen.